Go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sandy Barton with the Greater Magnolia Parkway Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to our Business Success Seminar. This morning, we have Andrew Lamb with Action Coach, and he is going to help us walk through a process that I think a lot of us find very challenging these days, and that's hiring the right people. He's going to help us, through every aspect of the things that we should be thinking about as we're looking to craft the job posting and the job description, to working through the interview process and what we should be thinking about and communicating and sharing with the people that we're looking to bring onto our team to make us a more successful, more cohesive team. So I'm going to turn this over to Andrew now. And I want to thank him initially for sharing his wonderful expertise with us today. Andrew?
Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate it. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Andrew Lamb from Action Coach, Northwest Houston. So Sandy reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, we really need to start talking about hiring. Hiring is a really critical, important item in businesses today. A lot of people are talking about it because of where we've been over the last 18 months and where we're coming out. People are struggling around hiring. So here at Action Coach, we're here to help you and help businesses become successful businesses. So going from good to great. So today I want to share some items around hiring and the process of hiring and what you should be thinking about when hiring and hiring the right team. Why is this important? Well, team is the #1 asset of any company. Having the right team in place will help you grow your business beyond your wildest expectations. So hiring is a critical component of that to getting that right team. And it is a process. It's a process that you need to be very focused on and really be intentional. And we'll talk about intentionality in a few moments. So where we come from. We can scroll down. There we go. So the environment over the last 12 to 18 months has been pretty daunting for all of us as small business owners. I mean, the outbreak of the coronavirus back in that March, the loss of jobs, especially in the smaller industries in the food and drink and retail and travel and tourism and support services, has been catastrophic. Lots of people have lost their jobs. Lots of people were struggling through this period of time. And again, it affected everybody at the end of the day. Thankfully, we have now a vaccine and people have got through the process. So again, big shout out to the pharmaceutical industry, our healthcare workers, everybody that's been involved over the last 12 to 18 months of looking after us and getting us to this point. This point now is, announced recently that we don't have to be wearing masks anymore. But again, just be careful. The other thing is it's paid a big toll on a lot of people around their financial situation. So lots of checks are being cut. There's a lot of money being pumped into the economy. And let's not kid ourselves, folks. We're going to have to pay this money back at some stage. So while the money has helped and has got people over the hump, this has also caused some other issues. So again, in some of these other industries where the hourly wage isn't as high, it's around that $10, $12, $14, $15 mark. You're still getting, there are opportunities or there's incentives out there right now for individuals to be taking those checks. So right now there is a record $8.1 million job openings available in the United States today. So there's a lot of people have got jobs out there. There's a lot of people wanting help, but we've got to overcome some of the hurdles we've got, again, especially with some of the assistance that's out there that are helping people. So some good news here. On the 26th of June, Governor Abbott has ended the federal pandemic-related unemployment benefits, that additional money. Again, this should encourage people to start going back to work. So those of you out there that are struggling with hiring some of those people to come back, there may be some incentives for people to start coming back. However, that's not the only thing that we should be looking at. We should be also looking at our business? How do we attract somebody to come to our business? How do we attract the right talent to come to our business? And that's what I'm going to talk about now, is how do you get the right people into your organization? As I said, this is really, really important. And financially, it's important because if you hire the wrong person and they leave in a short period of time, the actual financial cost to you is about 6 months' salary. Just think about the time and effort you spend going hiring somebody, looking, posting the job, doing all the interviews, bringing them in and training that individual for them to get into that role. And then in a couple of weeks or a couple of months go, nah, this isn't for me. That is a complete and total waste of your time and effort and energy and money. So the average cost of doing that is about 6 months salary. So just be thinking about that when you're hiring somebody. Do it with intentionality. Always make sure you're looking for the right person, the right job. And again, don't just hire somebody to have a warm body. That's the worst thing you can do because it will cost you in the long run. So what should you be doing when you're looking to hire somebody? There's a couple of steps that you need to be doing first. First of all, you've got to be looking at what is your vision? What is your North Star? Where is the company going? You've got to be able to articulate that. That is absolutely front and center of any job description at the beginning. What is the vision of the company? There has been changes in the in advertising jobs over the last 5 to 10 years. It used to be that you would just put a job description up there, what the job is and what the benefits were. That is not correct today. When you go out and start looking at jobs and job postings, what you'll start to see, or what you're seeing now, is actually companies going out with what the vision is. Where are they going? What is their challenge? What is their mission? How are they going to get there? What are the steps that they're going to achieve to get to their ultimate vision? And then the really big thing that a lot of new people coming into businesses are looking at, what is the culture? Culture is what is the atmosphere? What it is about that company that will draw somebody in and keep somebody in that position. So as you're building the application or the job posting, you've really got to post the mission, the vision, and the culture. You're attracting talent. Think of it this way. You're creating that opportunity for somebody to look at your business, and is that the culture that they would fit in, that they would thrive through? That's what you're looking for. So culture is all about the intangibles, or that work environment that will attract those people. Think about it as pollen to a honeybee. You're attracting those honeybees to your business. That's what you're trying to do. In my previous company, even in the late 40s, when our company was established, they had something called the HP Way. That was groundbreaking in the 40s and 50s, but it really attracted a different level of talent to the company. And we actually lived that culture. There was a HP Way. So we lived and breathed that culture. And by the way, you've got to support that culture as you're building your business, as you're driving your business. You're supporting that culture. So an example of a couple of cultural items: integrity. So if you're in the finance world or you're in the customer service world, integrity would be an important element. Customer first culture, always working with the customers. Honesty will be another big culture item. Fun. Always be looking at how fun. How are you going to have fun? Remember, we all spend more time in business than we do at home most of the time. So your environment has got to be somewhat of a fun environment, that people are willing to come to work and enjoy themselves. The other element is around growth. So promotion. We're always looking for the next leader in our organization. So leadership could be a culture statement that you have in your business. Again, you're attracting people. Don't be thinking you're just attracting somebody to that current role, but you're actually attracting people for the future of your business. Are these the people that you see in the next 5 to 10 years potentially running your business? So you really have got to be setting out your North Star. How are you going to get there? But what is that culture that you're building and creating and have and developing that you want to bring people to? You will attract more candidates and better candidates when you explain these 3 items in your job description. Very, very important. The next thing is when you're doing a job description, be very intentional about the role. Be very intentional about what is the purpose. Really spend time describing what the purpose of that role is. What are the characteristics that are required? Again, if you're looking for somebody that needs to be looking at the numbers, I mean, due diligence is really important. If you're looking for a salesperson, somebody that's outward, able to communicate effectively, both verbal and nonverbal, things like that. What are the characteristics that are required for that role? What is the balance you need? And we'll talk about this in a moment with regards to DISC, but when you're looking at an office, when you're looking at an operation, you need balance within your team. People that are good in certain areas, because that balance to the team will help you grow and not only grow through organic growth, but the team will actually challenge each other to get better. And I'll go through this in a moment. And then the other thing that I talk a lot about, what are the standards? Now, I've talked to many of you in the past around, when you're talking to team members or about team members, we use the old word, what's required. We require you to do this. I'm a big advocate of changing that word. Required is a parent-child relationship. So just think of when you're talking to your children, I require you to do this. I require you to do that. Okay. That is a very challenging statement to make. However, when working in a professional organization, when you set the standards, the standard for this organization is a 40-hour week, or the standard for this organization is creating 3 contacts per day, or the standard for this organization is having 5-star reviews, or the standard for this organization is making sure shipments go out on time all the time. The standard is a minimum requirement. What you're doing is you're setting a professional tone, a professional standard in which people understand and drive to achieve. So that it's a positive statement rather than that parent-child negativity statement. So a very important thing when you're setting up a job description is to set out the standards and call them the standards for this business. Now, when you're doing all of this, again, be very, very intentional with the outlines and the words that you use. What you're doing when you're setting up a job description or an offering out there is you're looking for people to deselect themselves. Let's go through that again. You're looking for people to deselect themselves. That means that people read your vision, your mission, your culture, and what the purpose and the standards of the roles are, and for them to go, yeah, that's not for me. Or I am really excited about this role. What you're looking to hire is people that really connect to and embrace that role and the mission and the vision and the culture. These are energetic people that you want coming into your business. Okay. These people will help you grow your business to levels you've never dreamed of. So be very, very intentional when you go through this process. Now, I did mention DISC a few moments ago. DISC is a really important element, and I've used this for nearly 30 years in business. It's one of the few things that I've continually used and I will use forever. It is really an important concept to understand. Within DISC, there's 4 elements. There's the dominance, there's the influence, there's steadiness, and there's compliance. If you look on the left side, there are people that are task orientated. These are the D's and the C's. They are very much getting things done. Now, getting things done versus the other side, which is people orientated. These are the people that are very people orientated first. They're more concerned about the people and where are we going to go rather than getting them done. Now, doesn't mean you're one or the other. Within DISC, you can actually have 2 to 3 different profiles. But in the general concept, you want to have people in each of the different boxes. Because if you have, one of the issues that we see in business is hiring. People hire based upon themselves. They like themselves. They like people that are like them. Therefore, they hire people like them. So for example, I'm an ID. I'm a person that's very strategic in where we're going outward, but I'm very results driven as well at the same time. Those are the types of people I like to be around, because the C people, they're around compliance, they're around accuracy, they're caution, they want 100% of the data. Individuals that are I can actually operate with about 60% of the data, and they make decisions and move. C's restrict their creativity. However, you need C people in finance. You need C people around compliance, for example. You're really looking for those people to making sure that you stay within the bounds that you need to stay within. Okay, because again, if I'm in charge of all of the invoicing, right, that might not be done on time, where the C people will. The S's are around people that are really supportive individuals. These are people that make lists, they create lists. They're the ones that are going to do the Christmas party or the events. But unfortunately, they are very creative in that way. They come up with some great ideas and they understand all the things that needs to be done, but their execution of that is not really good. Those are the D people. Those are the people that actually get things done. They're on target. They're around project plans. When are we going to get this done? Critical path, things like that. So as you can see, within a business, there are multiple types of people that need to be in different types of positions. If they're in those positions in the right way, your business is going to execute well. You need the skills, you need the balance within your organization. And by having a well-balanced team, they will challenge the norms. I've seen it around the world. This actually works around the world. I've done this in Taiwan, I've done it in India, I've done it in the US, and I've done it in Europe. It works around the world, truly.
Andrew,
Yes,
Andrew, yeah, we lost you for just a second.
Okay.
Okay, we lost you for just a second. Can you repeat about challenging norms and start
Yes.
it again? Somehow
Thank you.
our internet didn't work real well. Thank you.
Yeah, so challenging the norms. What you want to be doing around challenging the norms is making sure that you are working on individuals together are challenging the status quo, challenging the norms of the operation to grow the business in different ways. So for example, if you were working as an I and just looking forward, you could actually be missing some of the opportunities that were around you already. So challenging the norms around the teams, this works around the world. I've done this in India, I've done it in Taiwan, I've done it in the US and Europe. Using DISC truly works. So having a very balanced organization, you get the right work done in the right way, and people will challenge the way that you do it in a positive way. So make sure you're challenging the norms. Now, hiring, getting on to hiring. People, the hiring process for many is a long and laborious process. It does not have to be a long and laborious process. We have a 4-hour hiring process. We've teamed up with Hiring Steps, a company that allows us and enables us to go through a 4-hour hiring process. The first thing you've got to do is you've got to go through and you've got to create that job description. The job description, again, starting with the vision, the mission, the culture, and be very purposeful, intentional with regards to the role and the standards that you require, as well as what are the compensations that you have for that particular role. Once you've got all of that done, you go into a system and which they do, and they generate leads. They go onto all of the different platforms. You don't have to go and put them into the LinkedIn or some of these other places that have job boards. They will do it for you. Those will generate leads, and what we usually find is within a week, if not less, you usually get a pretty good basis of candidates. I just did this with a doctor's office recently, and we were told that it was going to be difficult getting an office manager. We had nearly 30 leads in a week. Really, really incredible results from this platform, and very highly qualified individuals as well. The next step is you go through a phone screening. So one of the things that we do is we actually ask the candidates to submit two answers to two questions written, and leave a phone answer to one question. And these questions, there's no right or wrong answer to these questions, but what we're trying to do is make people think. We're trying to challenge that individual to think beyond their norm. So phone screen the leads is a really important thing. And again, with this system, you don't have to be listening. You don't have to be picking up the phone and listening. It's all in one system. The next step is you go through the process, you identify the people that you want. So you go through a screening process, have a look at all the candidates, you rank those candidates based upon their answers, based upon their profile that they've submitted, their resume. And what we recommend is you do a group interview. Now, a lot of people shy away from this, okay? But this is a really great way of bringing a lot of people together and actually doing a great interview. And usually what we found is most people thought it was absolute fun when they went through this. You know, they'd never experienced it before. And we had some very competitive people on the call. And at the end, they said that was absolutely fantastic. It was a great process of understanding us and going through a process of learning. So a group interview. Now, I've be completely honest, I did group interviews when I was hiring call centers in India. It was not a great process when we did it, but how we're doing it now is far better. So I would highly encourage people to think about group interviewing. Now, you can do this over Zoom, or you can do this in your office. And really, the process goes through the start of the process is again reiteration of the mission, the vision, and the culture, and allows people to ask questions around that. At the end of that session, you take a small break and you invite people to take a break. And for those that do not believe that the mission, the vision, and the culture is something that they want to engage with, may leave at that time. Then you get into a question and answer session. Again, you've got a number of set questions that you ask people randomly as you go through the process. So you may start at the person on the top left and go with it to the bottom. The next question you could start in the middle and go outwards. Never talk to the same person first every single time, because they're the ones that they may feel that they're giving the answers and other people are learning from them. So mix it up and have some really thought-provoking questions as you go through this exercise. Again, small break at the end of that session. Again, you offer people the opportunity to either stay or leave after that session. The next piece of this, we actually give people a activity to do. So we actually set a scenario up in which those individuals work as a team to actually come up with a solution. They go through that process. And again, at the end of that process, we ask questions based upon their outputs, some interesting questions. And after that, again, you offer people the opportunity to either stay or leave. Again, you're allowing people to deselect themselves. At the end of that, then you open it up to general questions. The end of that process, and again, I've run those, you can, an hour to an hour and a half is all you need to do. And you can interview up to 20 people, maybe 30 people in that group interview in that time. Could you imagine actually having 30 people coming through your office, you know, and interviewing every single one of those people, or doing a phone interview for 30 people for 30 minutes? It's a lot of time. The final part of this is you do a selection. So after the interview, you sit down with your team, you go through a matrix of the people that you're interested with and the reasons why, and then you do a final interview. And again, I recommend 2 to 3 people do a final interview, and then you do the offer. This process, and again, I've got a number of clients that have gone through this. If you're interested in talking about those, I'm quite happy to do that with you. I can ask those people to come on to a conversation. They can share their experience with you. But they have found and hired some very, very competent and exciting people into their organizations. This is a very effective process in 4 hours to actually hire some very, very good people. So why do we go through this? You want to find the top talent. You want to find the best people for your organization. As I said at the beginning of this presentation, the number one asset of any company is its employees. You want that talent to stay. And the reason they stay, I'm going to tell you, it's about the culture. Okay. When they're bought into the culture, when they're bought into the organization, people will stay. If you're having a high turnover rate, you've got to seriously look at your culture, because it's probably the culture that's turning people away. You want to keep that top talent in your organization. And usually they stay because they're paid, they're mentored, they're challenged, they get promoted, they're involved in the conversations, they're appreciated, they're valued. There's a mission, they're empowered, and they're trusted. Again, these are all vision and mission and culture statements. Be thinking of the culture statements here. You know, you're involved in the decisions. We look to promote from within. We challenge the norms. We're empowered. You're empowered to make decisions. These are the things that you've got to be looking at when you're hiring individuals. You want the top talent in your business because you want your business to grow and thrive and grow again. You can do this when you hire the right people. As I said, if you need any assistance with this, feel free to reach out. Andrew Lamb at Action Coach Northwest Houston. And with that, I'm going to stop this sharing. And Sandy, do you have any questions or comments with regards to what we just went through?
No. I find that interesting. Can people? Let me ask a couple of questions.
Sure.
I liked the language about using standards instead of requirements in a job description and a job posting. I think that's excellent because I think it helps you set expectations better. I like that. That's great. The other thing, if somebody doesn't know enough about DISC, I've been using DISC now for about 15 or 16 years.
Yep.
And I agree, it's a valuable tool because it talks about, and I don't think that you mentioned this, it revolves around work behaviors. It's not like some of these other tools that talk about personality tests. That's not what DISC is. We're talking about how does someone interact or react in the work environment. And I think that that's a huge difference. In helping. And DISC also, when you get your DISC profile, it helps you understand how your particular profile can work better with other profiles, because sometimes those, you say, the DISC, and I happen to be an ID, shock, for those that have used it, but I actually have over the years, I've taken DISC now 4 times, and over the years, I have moved out of being a high D with nothing else to a high I with nothing else, and into a more balanced profile. I have components of all 3. I've got one of those weird, shaded elements in my profile on the last one that I took, and that's typical. That's a matter of growth and change as you learn as an actor in a work environment, how to address your own behaviors. So DISC gives you more than that. But the question that I have for you is that if someone doesn't know enough about DISC, or they'd like to employ it and even learn about their current employees, is that something that they can contact you on, or how can they access DISC?
Absolutely, Sandy. I mean, we actually do DISC training. So if you wanted to do that for your team, it's a fun event to go through. I have some very simple ways of going through. So I have basically 4 questions. I can identify people's I can identify people's DISC profile within 4 questions. But I think there's a deeper one that we can go through. It's a survey that I can send. It takes about 20 minutes for you to do it. And then we could actually go through a number of profiles. And again, it's there is a cost to doing that, but it's not a large cost, to be honest with you. I think it's doing a DISC and a profile. And again, depending on what you want, we can come up with a solution for some businesses if we want to do that. And again, if it's something we want to do, Sandy, in Magnolia Chamber of Commerce, we could probably do it for a couple of businesses if we want to bring them together and do an event around that. That could be an option for us. So we'll make
That would be
it
great.
affordable for everybody, honestly.
That's great. That's great. Because I do agree that DISC is a great tool.
Mhm.
And I've used it in the last 15, 16 years. Once I got exposed to it, I've used it in every hiring environment and onboarding environment that we've had with team.
Yeah.
So it's, I agree. It is an invaluable tool for those
Yeah.
that aren't familiar with it. I can, just give you an attestation that your entire team will be better for it. And it will be an eye opener, no matter how much you think you know about yourself and how you interact with others. So it's just a great learning tool, I think,
is.
and I'm all about, trying to do some of that. Okay, you mentioned working on job descriptions and including certain elements in job descriptions. Would you be available to review job descriptions if someone has one that they think, you know what, I think this is the best job description in the face of the earth, but I'd like an extra pair of eyes? Do you have a recommendation for, getting someone else to take a peek at those job descriptions, just to make certain that each of the people listening has the best opportunity to attract the right kind of people early in their process?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, always willing to help, but I can't help the whole of Magnolia do the job descriptions.
No, I'm sure. I know that, but I'm just wondering, or if you have recommendations, if someone contacts you and, you mentioned that you have relationships with other organizations that do this for a living.
We do.
You might be able to, they can contact you directly and say, hey,
Absolutely.
who should I talk to?
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you should be able to contact me through the chamber, but Andrew Lamb at actioncoach.com is my
Yep.
email. Feel free to drop me an email on it. But again, it's the elements at the beginning. And again, I've got a 4-hour page hiring page that I can send out. And actually, I'll probably put it at the bottom of this video. I'll put a link to that page so you can
Okay.
download it.
That'd be great.
Feel free to do that. But again, if you've got questions around this or just growing your business, again, this is one of the most important things you do for a business. Okay, so you've got your financials and you've got your customers, but when you're setting up your team or looking at your team, this isn't a 5-minute job. This takes some serious brain power to look at the organization and where are you going and what do you need. So if
Yeah.
anybody's going through hiring right now, I would seriously challenge you all to sit down and think about, where do you want your business to be in 5 years? What should that organization look like? And what are the skills and the behaviors that you need to build that business to that level? And it takes a while for you to go through that iteration. And this is kind of what we do here at Action Coach. It's one of our fundamentals, one of our masteries that we do is around destination, removing that chaos from your business.
Right.
So again, if you want help in that regard, we're here to help. There's actually a seminar that's about to occur, or an event that's going to occur on the 26th of June. If you want more information around that, contact me. It's called Growth Club. It's about building your plan for 90 days. But we're here to help you all. That's why I'm part of the chamber, is to help businesses grow and excel. I want you to go from great to spectacular, or from good to great, whichever acronym you want to use. But it's really, really important that you get the right team in place. It's absolutely critical.
I agree, and culture has a lot to do with it. I'm so glad to hear you talk about culture and communicating culture early in your conversations, even in the job posting. I think it's helpful, especially in this day and age when you're looking at a wide variety of applicants who have choices on where they decide that they want to work, and culture is an important element. How people feel about the organization is an important element these days in not only finding and attracting the right person, but keeping them, because as you said, that turnover can be devastating to an organization. So you got to find someone who not only wants to start, but they want to stay, and you have to create that culture to help them want to stay.
Yeah.
So really, Andrew, this was a wonderful presentation. I appreciate your time today. Again, anyone that needs to contact Andrew can find them on the Chamber website, greatermagnoliaparkwaycc.org. Go to Find a Business and plug in Action Coach. And he will come right up with all of his contact information, or you can always give me a call at the Chamber. Again, Andrew, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your wisdom with us today. And hopefully, for all of those jobs that are wanting in our area, hopefully we have the lowest incidence out here in Southwest Montgomery County because of the words of wisdom you were able to share with us. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.